Hi, I'm John Sicotte, Executive Editor of the Brewer Magazine. Welcome to another edition of the Brewer Magazine Podcast. We are sponsored by Keg Logistics. You can check that all out at keglogistics.com/brewermag. And also make sure to follow us on Spotify and on YouTube, like and subscribe, all the fun stuff to get up to date with what's going on with Brewer Magazine Podcast. And of course, we're available 24 hours a day at brewermag.com. Well, one of the states in the country is Wisconsin that is well known for its drinking beer capacity, and the per capita drinking is very high up there. So you'd think you open up a brewery, you'll just make money right away, right? Well, you still need the marketing part involved in that. And we welcome in Jen Radloff of the marketing director for Badger State Brewing here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast, Jen.
Yeah, thanks for coming and making the trek to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And, kind of like what I said, I mean, it's not as easy as just opening up a brewery. You still have to be out there. Craft beer is not exactly the number one thing in Wisconsin. Beer is definitely number one in Wisconsin. But we'll get to talking about that. But let's find a little bit about you. How long have you been with the brewery, and how's a regular work week for you look like?
Sure. So I've been with the brewery since 2014. Started out as a bartender. Kind of had like my grown-up job and was out of the bartending scene. And the guys, we had mutual acquaintances and needed some help behind the bar. And I was like, oh, I'll keep my ear to the ground and let you guys know. And the rest was kind of history. They're like, no, we want you to help bartend. And I did that, and I enjoyed the atmosphere of the brewery so much that I kind of pestered them, like, hey, if you need full-time help or whatnot. So they created and made a role for me, and I've been with them ever since.
Now, was this something like when it comes to marketing, like things that you've already done before? And so you're learning along you go, but you're also, it was an early time in the craft beer world anyway. So like Badger State kind of got in on the ground early. Like what did you see in the early years for you guys just building the brand?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was just getting our name out in the community. Mm-hmm. At that time, social media was a little different. Facebook wasn't hiding everything and whatnot. And we obviously had like a much smaller budget. So it was word of mouth, doing as many tastings and beer events as we could, and doing as much promotion and marketing as like the local news stations were always very kind to us, and just hoping for the best.
Well, what is your approach as a brewery now? Things like you said, things have changed. You guys have to find new ways to integrate yourself into the community. And obviously we'll talk about the NFL draft because I'm sure that was a big project for you guys. But like, how do you work yourself into the community now that you guys are looking at being a 10-plus-year-old brewery?
Sure. I think one is just a hyper focus on community and local, and not forgetting the people that got us this far, which is everybody in this town and throughout Wisconsin. We're always looking to do something new. So whether it's partnering with a local radio station to do promos about like our summer concert series that we have every week, or working with media to talk about big events that we do. We partner with a lot of charities and local organizations. We don't like to say no. We're like, let's make it happen. And then I think outside of that, it's your standard marketing. We do newsletters. We do a lot of foot on the ground as well. So if we're running events or looking for partners, we're going to the businesses and touching base with them and kind of having FaceTime. Social media is, the beast we have to work with, especially in Green Bay still. Facebook is kind of the primarily like how people find their events. We are very heavy on that, but Reels, TikToks, all of that stuff now is what we're using on top of our tried and true methods.
Do you, and I know for myself, like I run all our social media and stuff. I'm not a TikTok person. I've been told we need to get a TikTok. We need to do this. Is it hard for you to adapt and change because things move so quickly? You're like, crap, now we have to get on this. And then and it's like you keep spreading yourself out a little thinner every single time. Has that been a hard thing to like find focus? So this needs to be here and this is how I'm going to do this. And
yeah, it was so hard. I mean, for the longest time up until this spring, it was Andrew and myself doing all of our social media. And on top of that, like newsletters and the day-to-day stuff, for my events role and trying to fill our calendar as much as we could. So we brought on a social media girl
Nice.
or person, Taylor.
Yeah.
She's been great. She has her own kind of fandom on TikTok, so it was really cool to have her come in and start being like, "Hey guys, this is how we do it." Because I'm a perfectionist, and so when I tried to do TikToks at first, they didn't look as visually appealing as the others, and so I was kind of like, I'm not touching this. Like if it doesn't look perfect and I don't have 8 days to like sit and edit a video or whatever it takes. So yeah, it's always a struggle because you feel like you're one step behind. Now I think we finally are in a good position because we have her along with us that can kind of meld everything and make sure all of our bases are covered.
Yeah.
But everything's ever evolving and changing.
Speaking of ever evolving, and I sat in on a event planning session at CBC. It's so important now, because before it used to just be like, yeah, we'll be open to the community. But now, like you said, you have to fill the calendar. It's not just we'll do this on Monday and Wednesday when the down days. It's like almost you need to have an event to get butts in seats now. People want an experience versus just coming to get a drink. Have you noticed that even here?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many local establishments, whether it's bars, whether it's other breweries, restaurants. And so it's a lot of competition, friendly competition to be like, how do we keep people coming in? Whereas how do we get them here twice a week versus just one, or like make sure that especially I think weekdays too, like are filled. And we just kept noticing more and more breweries and other establishments just trying to incorporate more activities or events. And we pride ourselves on kind of always having done that. I just feel like the amount that we do is way more, but it's a lot easier now. Now we kind of know what we're doing, and we have some tried and true events that consistently we bring back, and then we have fun creating brand new ones or one-off ones or large events like our tattoo fest, which is really cool. We didn't have a tattoo convention or fest in town for years. So we're on our 3rd year of running that. That's great. Our Flannel Fest and our Oktober Fest, our Frozen Firkins, which is our winter outdoor beer fest. So it's really cool that some of our customers, their first experience with us wasn't knowing necessarily the craft beer scene or being into it, but instead having a friend bring them to one of our events, and then they became a fan, and now they're looking forward to what we're going to do next.
Very cool. Yeah, and like you said, tried and true. What are some of the ones that probably everyone does, but they work for you, or are there things that you think you hear every brewery talk about? Oh, we do this, but it doesn't work for you guys. Is there anything like that you're not a fan of and you guys kind of shy away from, or things that you really love?
Yeah, I think one, you want to make sure you're not oversaturating the market. So, I was literally just on a phone call this morning, trivia. There's great trivia companies, but there's so many businesses. I think there's like 15 I could name that like Monday through Thursday every week they're within close proximity, and it's that like mixed bag question of like history, cars, beer, movies. And we knew the value of it, of having trivia, and people love it, but we then had to kind of adjust. So my thought was like, all right, let's maybe pick a topic for our trivia and not do it weekly. Maybe do it once a month and make it this big thing. So now we do monthly trivia nights where we pick, maybe it's Adam Sandler movies, maybe it's 90s music, maybe it's Harry Potter or The Office. And we put on a giant slideshow. We go in our large event hall and we have themed prizes. You get a beer with your entry, and we tailor it to be more specific so that it's still appealing, it's still trivia, but it's not necessarily going to like limit the amount of people that come and check it out, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, speaking of events, you guys had a very big event in town recently. The NFL draft was here. You guys are in the Titletown district. Yeah, Lambeau is a spitting distance away. How crazy was it, and how much planning? When did you start planning?
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.
Sure. I mean, obviously the wheels started turning the minute we found out the draft was going to be held here, but I think we actually started doing like boots on the ground, having consistent meetings probably last May, to just start preparing ourselves. And you don't know what to expect. So I think in the starting process was, okay, what does it look like? What areas of our space, we're very fortunate that we have a large facility. So it's like, are we going to extend our serving areas? Are we, wanting to bring in entertainment, looking at budgets and kind of what was feasible? And then I would say end of summer last year, fall was really like, all right, let's find partners. Let's figure out food trucks. Let's book music, and start figuring out staffing. Because obviously, if you're expecting, thousands upon thousands of people to be in town, you want to make sure that you're capable of handling that.
Yeah. And how was it? Do you feel that you were successful?
Absolutely. I think it was really exciting. I think we were all so nervous that we were just going to be like slammed, and for lack of a better term, get our butts handed to us. But I think we were so intent on being prepared that it came and went, and it didn't feel like it was great, but it didn't feel overwhelming.
That's good.
Which I think is just kudos to our team, and
that's good planning.
Ahead of it, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything I think Pittsburgh is going to be the next draft. I'm sure they've announced some other ones. There's some breweries in each of these cities. There might not be as close to the stadium where it is. I mean, I know Tennessee, it was kind of across the river and it's the Broadway district, but you guys kind of had, don't think you had anyone to lean on. Like there were not other breweries near other stadiums in other cities. If this happens to them, like what, like you said, planning is so important that it doesn't feel like you're being overwhelmed. Is that kind of the key? If this happens, a big event like this near your brewery?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's knowing your strengths, playing off of that, not trying to reinvent the wheel, because it's a 1 week event. It's like a singular event that, is not going to happen every year in your area. So I think just looking at it realistically and going back to basics and planning ahead of time, and also talking to like your city officials and tourist group, and they kind of gave us so much useful information. And then we're getting on the phone with like the local law enforcement to know closures and what that's all going to look like. So asking everybody, nobody is going to tell you the right things. I think we were told 8,000 things, and I don't know that any of them actually happened, but yeah, I think it was just being open to it. And
you survived.
Yeah.
What did people, did you guys see a lot of, obviously you see tons of people wearing jerseys of all over, you're getting to welcome yourself as a brewery. What was that response like, and being able to just, I'm sure there's, beer tourism and the NFL, I'm sure they go hand in hand with a lot of people. So you probably got to introduce yourself to a lot of people that way.
Absolutely. There's nothing better. We're so close to Lambeau as it is, so it was just like a massive home game. It felt just like a larger than life home game. But our favorite thing, I think, being from the Midwest too, is like having people come from different countries, different states, all over, wearing their jerseys and like feeling so welcome. And there's nothing we love more than hearing like after people are here, like everybody here is so nice. Or like this was so fun. Like you might get a little rousing, but for the most part, I think Green Bay as a whole, and what we pride ourselves on is being welcoming. Everybody's welcome here.
Kind of touching on this, because you guys obviously were doing a lot of planning. One of the things was some collaboration beers. I know you guys got to work with Three Sheeps on some. Like, how much planning ahead of that, was it like, okay, well, we want to represent the state here? Was it you guys coming to Three Sheeps coming to you, like when it comes to putting out an NFL draft beer?
Yeah. I would love to say that there was a lot of planning involved, but that one kind of came up quickly. I believe Three Sheeps were the individuals that kind of reached out to us, because they, obviously they're not as close to the location of the draft. So I think having something collaborative, and specifically kind of tied to football, and Lambeau was pretty cool to do. They've always been really great and supportive. So I think in terms of collaboration, we're always looking for one, just individuals that are open to being collaborative and are interested in making something kind of unique that gets people excited. But yeah, I think that one was kind of a no-brainer. Anytime we can support each other as like Wisconsin breweries, we're always down to do that.
One of the things that you brought up earlier is just the importance of even having a newsletter, which I think people got away from for so long. I had a good chance to talk with a Dovetail Brewery in Chicago, and they kind of quit social media and had a great talk with Jenny, and she talked about how important the newsletter was and how getting away from a third-party platform to broadcast to your fans was important. Have you guys seen that in the past, or have you always kind of had that newsletter, been able to build it? Like, what's your thought process on your relationship with your social media platforms?
Sure. So newsletter, yeah, we've had that. I think it's been about 5 years now. We've been using it now. I think in the past 3 years, we've been using it more efficiently, and trying to not put out. It's that balance, because we all know that we get emails and we subscribe to something and we're like, oh crap, we subscribed to that, like unsubscribe or delete. So I think our goal was like, what's the happy balance? What doesn't feel like we're overwhelming people with information, but also it's such a valuable tool to get information out to people that maybe aren't on the platforms. Because I think depending on age, it's very like age specific. People either love Facebook or they hate it, or they love Instagram or they hate it. And Instagram's great for beautiful images. And Facebook, like I said, for the Green Bay area and the Wisconsin area, it still feels kind of like that beast we have to deal with, because it is where most of our clientele get their event information. So, we're very heavy on that and on stories, and then newsletter.
And that's what I was going to get into, is just like what drives people still to the brewery. What do you see social media wise, or even in the newsletter? Like, what's the most clicked thing? Is it, I think 10 years ago, we have a new beer.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's maybe events or something else, like, because new beer doesn't drive people as much as it used to. So you have to find new ways to find content that delivers. And what are some of those for you guys?
Absolutely. I think we try to, obviously you can't do it with every beer and it doesn't always make sense, but we try to tie events to beer releases, and kind of tailor that so that, one, it does keep the excitement in a new beer, but it also gives people something else to do. Because the average person isn't coming out anymore and just being like, I want to wait in line and I want to get this 4-pack or this bottle of beer. They want a reason to go there and hang out, and something to keep them there. So, we find that if we tie it to an event, we're going to get more traction. Or if we're bringing back an oldie, like if we're bringing back something that has not been released in a while, that pulls in a lot of traction. Like tomorrow, we've got our Golden Days, which is our juicy IPA. We bring that back now once a year, and it's exciting because on the cans we run we call it our ambassador contest, and so people from around Wisconsin can submit images of their dogs, like bios, basically trying to be the ambassador for our Golden Days beer every year. And then we do a big live voting event in September where like the top 7 dogs have booths, and you can come and meet them and pay. You can pay. I say it's like a donate, because all the proceeds go to local animal shelter.
Neat.
And so then what we do is the winner each year, that dog's likeness we put on the Golden Days can, and we do a limited release. So like tomorrow that's dropping. So that stuff, I think, that gets people excited about beer too, is when it's tied to a cause, or when it has that like kind of fun outside of just beer element to it.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have something like that. You just went through a huge year-long type of campaign getting ready for the NFL draft. What's the next big thing for you guys? Is there something, whether it's driving new territories or trying to just settle down for a little bit? Like, what's the next campaign that you guys are working on, and what are you looking forward to working on?
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now is the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.
I think now we're in summer, so our drive now is we have an event hall. So like we're like, how do we drive weddings and private events in that space? And then now is looking towards our fall events. So now we're all hands on deck for our Oktoberfest, and then also for our Flannel Fest and football season. Other than that, I think it's just our larger events. Then I'll be thinking tattoos and our frozen firkins.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a lot of planning involved in that, right? Like, I mean, do you guys have it down to a science yet? Are you always adjusting after the year? Like, this would have been better if we had done it this way. I mean, are you still seeing that?
Yeah, I think you have to. I don't think you can run a reoccurring event the same way every year and expect a larger audience. I think you always have to be willing to like innovate and change. So it's been really helpful. With most of our event partners, I usually will offer like follow-up emails afterwards of like, okay, questions, comments, concerns, violent reactions, like what can we do to be better? So it's great, especially with the tattoo one too. Those guys are always willing to meet up, and we have regular meetings to kind of talk through what they're seeing at other fests and what we could potentially introduce.
Nice. Well, did you, and your tattoos done at Tattoo Fest?
I have some, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a local artist. His name's Micah Gunderson. He creates a can design for the beer fest every year. It's our Dark Tides. And every year I've gotten the creature he creates tattooed on my leg.
That's fantastic. Well, really neat. We're kind of wrapping things up, but I kind of wanted to look back. Let's go back to the, like you said, you've been here since the start. What would you tell yourself those first few months of working at Badger State? This is what you should be doing. I wish you would have done this differently. Is there anything that you felt that you learned from quickly?
Get more sleep. You don't have to drink every beer. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's actually a really good one.
I think you don't have to take yourself so seriously, and to not shy away or hide the failures, because that's honestly where you develop and you learn. I feel like I used to be so harsh on myself, especially starting out, having no background in creating events or marketing. If something didn't go well, like I would be the first person to beat myself up and like just hyper focus on it. And as I've gotten older, it's like not everything is going to be successful, and that's how you learn. That like old parent adage where it's like it's fine, just get back up and try again.
Awesome. Well, I always like to end it here with the podcast, just getting to know you a little bit, having some fun. So I don't know how much you deal with the merch. I'm sure you probably have some thought process into it. What's something that you guys have released or want to release when it comes to a piece of merch that you think would sell well or has sold well and you think it's unique and you love it?
Sure. I love helping with our merch. Andrew and he's the hack guy and the brains behind a lot of it, but it's been pretty fun bringing in new stuff. Honestly, I think one of the funnest ones we brought in custom golf like polos that were like that super nice breathable fabric with our like Brewski logos and our Caddyland logos. Those were a huge hit. Those kind of blew everything out of the water.
This one's easy because you can literally grab your phone for this. Go to Google and tell me the last thing you Googled.
I'm on so many lists, I'm sure.
I'm always waiting for some like, nope, not going to do that one. But
no, the last thing I Googled
was, okay.
Actually, this morning I was looking into, I'm planning a cornhole tournament fundraiser. So I was looking up different like organizations that do back to school drives, because we're going to tie the cornhole tournament into a school drive for like supplies and backpacks and stuff.
Oh, neat. Awesome.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That one I knew.
That one you knew. So we're good to go. But yeah, well, I appreciate you taking the time and sharing some insights into the marketing. I feel like you guys have had a good, ear to the ground and been able to build here and be part of the community. And it's great to always see you guys when I get a chance to come north for me, south if I'm from my original hometown. So Jen, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Thank you so much. This is great.
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.